All right, I got a stream here. Hold on a second. All right, stream looks like it should. Let's do it.
I think that's my cue. So in that case, we'll go ahead and gavel this meeting in. Call it to order. This meeting will be conducted entirely via video conference. The public may view and listen to the meeting at the following live stream URL: www.metrotech.edu/mtc-live. If for some reason we're disconnected, we'll give ourselves 15 minutes to get reconnected. If we cannot reconnect in 15 minutes, then we will adjourn this meeting and we'll call another meeting at a later date. All of that being said, it looks like we have a quorum. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. McKinney?
Here.
Dr. Teray? Ms. Campos?
Here.
Ms. Richards?
Here.
Mr. Latham?
Here.
Mr. McKinney? And Mr. Perry?
Here.
6 present.
All right, we have a quorum. At this point, we'll move to item number 3, the superintendent's report. Bob?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, President Latham. Sorry about the delay. I hope everybody is staying cool during this this heat wave we have all of a sudden. I just want to make a couple of quick notes, and we're going to get on with the agenda. But you know, we're still up in the air on how we're going to return back to school. Oklahoma City had a board meeting last night, and I think they're still trying to make those decisions, as are our other sending schools, Millwood and Crooked Oak. But we're keeping track of that on a daily basis as things go. The same way with our employees returning to work full time. We do have a plan, and we're implementing that now. And a lot of employees are back in the building, but we're trying to keep it to a minimum. People not being able to have too many people in one time, and are using their face mask and getting their temperature checks if you come up to the building. So be aware of that. But anybody, if you need to come to the building, you're welcome to come. One thing I wanted to say is today we got a letter that we did get Gold Star for this year. So for the year 2020, it's always a year behind. And that's why the agenda item we have tonight under the superintendent's report needs to remain on the agenda. We can shorten that. It doesn't say how long the report has to be. You do have a lengthy version of that report, but as I mentioned at the last meeting, we're going to, Cindy's going to give a condensed version, but later this is going to be a working document that's going to be after I leave, and you're working on it starting tomorrow with Mr. Collins, who I'll introduce here shortly. But I wanted to let you know also that Dr. Ware is not here tonight. She lost her sister passed last Friday. Raphael Ware White. I do not know her, but please keep Dr. Teray in your thoughts and prayers this evening. That is the reason that she is not here. At this time, Cindy, if you and your staff would like to give a presentation without the PowerPoint, just give a brief overview of where we're at and what your expectations are at this point moving forward. Thank you.
You're muted.
I apologize. Thank you, Superintendent Parrish, and thank you, Board of Education. We did provide, thanks to Joanne, I will just refer to this document. This is the document that our presentation is in, and I see Mr. McKinney has his. So you do have the entire PowerPoint presentation that we were going to use. So what we will do is refer to those slides just very quickly. I'll make a few introductory remarks, and then Kathy and Jane will share brief highlights from the PowerPoint. But we are compliant for the state requirements by the fact that you all have the PowerPoint in hand. Oh, look, there's another aboard. Mr. Perry's got his out and ready. So thank you all very much for allowing us to invest in the exploration and conversations over the past year regarding our marketing and our communications. We've really benefited from the open and honest dialogue about our brand, and also from all of the input that you all provided to not only our staff, but during focus groups and individual meetings with the Staple Gun group that helped with that evaluation. These are conversations that we've not had in this depth for over 10 years. The research shed light on areas where Metro Tech excels and areas where we can improve. Our strength out of the results was clear. Who we serve and why we are here was very solid and strong. The research told us that our people and our beliefs are the strongest element of our brand, which is great, but the way we communicate is inconsistent. It's not great. Our signage, our use of our visuals, our website, our topography, our collaterals, they're all different and they're not consistent. Just like we build buildings, brand building takes a bit of time and a little bit of hocus pocus, I think, because some of it is stuff that just seems to be magic. But by now we're all aware that our brand is not just a logo or a certain Pantone color. While the big ideas and the flashy logos and the social media are part of the mix, the great brand begins with the longevity and the impact that is built by our people and by our culture. And we have one of the richest cultures in our state. This is something we're not taking full advantage of. The new marketing and communications plan will help us reach more of our community and do a better job with that. So for the next 20 years, that's kind of the goal, that this effort would be good for a long time. We want to be more authentic. We want to honor the diverse communities and the clients that we serve. In the next phase of the rebrand, the team is preparing to design and execute. And this team includes, as you know, amazing videographers, Zoom czars, production professionals, communicators, event planners, researchers, and talented artists. And some of these people wear 2 or 3 hats. So these are all different things that our people do in the marketing and media area. And today you're going to hear from 3 members of the team most closely involved with the marketing plan itself. And again, they will do it a little quickly. They're probably going to be a little nervous because now, we practiced twice today, but now everything's going to be a little different. But Sean Dillahay has conducted our marketing efforts from a research-based perspective for decades, and she's got a solid grasp on what we should do to reach our diverse market. She deploys numerous techniques to communicate to businesses, students, and our parents and adult learners. Our former graphics instructor, Jane Edwards, has led our graphics team for years, and she serves as our brand expert. In addition to setting standards for our facilities and signage and working with our building teams, she sets standards for our brochures and our website, and she's taking the team into the new realm of digital. A lot of the things we did in the past related to print advertising, print mailing, that's really changed, and we are so much more digital. So we are evolving the team. And then bringing work experience from Francis Tuttle's marketing department, Kathy Story jumped in to lead many projects to help out, including she's led a new product development team, and she's co-led the brand evaluation with Jane and Sean. Most recently, she's jumped in to help take care of our social media and press while we had an employee resign in November. So Kathy just picked that up in addition. But the team's done a lot of research in the past year, and you, the board, have led us with grace, and you've been patient with us. So we really appreciate the open-mindedness that you've brought to what our work has been. Change isn't for the faint of heart, but for the dedicated and passionate, and that's what our team is about, taking us forward. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it over now to Kathy.
Thank you, Cindy, for the introduction. Good evening, Superintendent Parrish and Board President Latham, board members and guests. It really is a pleasure to be here to present our marketing and communications plan to you. As Cindy mentioned, you have that spiral bound binder there with you. And I think if you would, just please follow along in there. In that first section called Marketing and Communications Presentation is the slides that we would have presented on the screen today, followed by the actual marketing and communications plan in its full capacity. Here in this presentation, though, we're just doing an abbreviated version. What we'll highlight today is the research conducted, the results, our communication and engagement, and our marketing goals. We do in the packet, if you will see, we do begin with a brief summary with the executive summary on research. The board has been involved in the research, so I won't reiterate all of that, but that is where we start because the key findings led us to this multi-tiered approach in our 2-year communications plan. The way we organized our work, and you'll notice another graphic on page 8 of that, a graphic is just really a visual on how we organized our work with research analysis, developing the timeline, how we communicate, deploy the goals, and then finally evaluate how everything works through the year. The timeline you have seen, and the timeline that shows how we did the evaluation and recommendations is in the manual, and you will see that if you would like to refresh. And then from here, I will pass it on to Jane, and Jane will share a little bit of our results from the past couple of years.
Okay, well, thank you, Kathy. In this section, I'm going to share our continuous improvement results and our methods for measuring engagement. These are a lot of numbers, so it might be boring, except that we have some really great numbers here to share. We did do a 4-week campaign for aviation, and through that campaign, we used digital ads. And through those digital ads, we got 1,000 responses or clicks onto our website. And the way that we set this up, whenever someone clicked on our aviation ad, it took them directly to our aviation page. So that gave us an opportunity to share this program with over 1,000 or almost 1,000 people. And then when you look at our website usage for March, it shows that we had over 21,000 people visit our website. And that's just in 1 month, 21,000 people. And also 53% were new users to our website. So we're putting something up there that people are interested in. And then if we go on, we looked at our enrollment results from FY15 to 2019. We see results from our high school, our short-term, and our facility usage. And we have an exceptional number from our short-term programs of an increase of 247%. And I don't know where Ronaldo's at, but I'm sure he's smiling right now because that's an amazing number. I'm trying to move fast here because I know it's all about numbers here. So we looked at our results for our high school, and This is a really good example of following our Malcolm Baldrige model of continuous improvement. From 2014 all the way to 2019, it was a continuous increase. So every year we increased our enrollment a certain percentage. And over the years, the 5 years, we increased, which actually this was 6 years, we increased 56% on enrollments for our high school students. And also the other 5-year results we have are for our website and our web traffic. It actually, for over 5 years, it was also continuous improvement over these years. And we had an increase of 157% over 5 years. And this is also for FY 18 and 19, we had a 56% increase of new users. And then in our advertising, we wanted to look at what's working for our advertising. And when students enroll in our programs, we give them a survey. And we just wanted to share 2 of the results from that survey. When we asked our students how they heard about Metro Tech, the highest percentages were in advertising and word of mouth. And so that leads us to our focusing on our advertising, just our advertising results. And that did give a little bit of a difference in the 2 categories. With our full-time adults, they use the Google search, which is powered by our search engine optimization. And also the short-term use our course schedule. So, and that was the highest percentage for our short-term programs. And then we move on to our total students and clients served. We have a total of 96,468 clients served at Metro Technology Centers. And I do believe that this is a testament to all who work at Metro Technology Centers and their passion for what they do. So thank you, and I'm going to pass this on to Kathy.
Thank you, Jane. Yeah, that's an amazing number, nearly 100,000 people that Metro Tech serves. And from all areas, from short-term, full-time, economic workforce development, conference services. So you're probably wondering, how on earth do we reach all of these people in so many different ways? It really is truly the collective of our staff, as Jane stated, at Metro Tech. All of that has helped us strategize in the way that we engage with our public. And so you'll see there on page 17, it brings me to our internal and external communications. We haven't had one before. We haven't had a print plan, let's put it that way. We've definitely had a plan involving annual events, internal, external, different methods of the way we communicate internally with staff, and the way that we use a media mix of advertising to reach our public. And sometimes marketing and communications are sort of synonymous with each other, they overlap. But we haven't had an actual printed plan. So we felt like with all of the activities that we do, by really having more of a strategic approach, we can definitely really improve on the communication, both internal and external. And to give you an example, on page 18, how we engage, that's just showing you, there's some bullet points there, just showing you a few events. But you know, we have many people responsible for the different aspects, from graduations and open houses and job fairs and special events. To give you an example, and I know our board members have been involved in, I think, all 3 of these activities, but recently we had an American Airlines MD-80 donation to Career Tech, and that MD-80 is housed at Metro Tech's aviation campus, and we had a big event. So that photo there on the left on page 18 shows the people that attended. The photo to the right, the upper right, was our 40-year open house. And we had an incredible turnout of about 300 people. There's Superintendent Parrish with a couple of people in the photo. And then the one below that is Hospital Day. Hospital Day is an annual event that is put on by our Health Careers Services to help our students put them in situations that replicate real life. And we engage with our community resources like our police department and fire department and National Guard. So that gives you kind of an idea. In the plan on page 31, 32, 33, in the communications part, you'll see a more robust list of things that we do with our external public and how we communicate internally. We're not saying it here in the presentation because there is a lot, and you can just read that on your own. So what is next after all of that? Well, that boils down to our goals and all of the research that has been done. And we have chosen 3 or 4 things that we plan on working forward. There's so many things happening at Metro Tech, but marketing will be working on a couple of things related to brand alignment, since that's where all of most of our research has lied. And brand alignment is just ensuring that all marketing aspects and customer interactions hold up the brand promise. And so with that, our brand identity guide is going to be a living document that will explain how Metro Tech's brand should be communicated internally and externally in a consistent manner. And so then next under that is new media. And really that's just the digital media. And we're going to be adding some 6-minute videos that we know are very popular and kind of building up our social media presence. And we feel like that is going to help Metro Tech in many aspects. Then there's new product development. We did Eye Care Technologies would be a good example, where we built a program around strategizing how we would market that program to the area physicians, since we did start off with short-term classes. And we're taking what worked real well with that and then building a plan for other new product development. And then lastly, our failing product support, while that is something new, we'll be evaluating different program areas and determining what we can do to help support them. So this takeaway really is what I'm most excited about with our goals, is that we're helping to bring Metro Tech forward with an impact into our community more than ever before. So we appreciate all your support and guidance, and we look forward to moving forward. So this concludes our presentation. Are there any questions or comments?
Nope, no questions. Thank you, Kathy, and the team for putting that together. And as I mentioned, you have some things that you look to go forward with. Next, we have the treasurer's report. Dr. Branscombe or Matt, if you would give a brief overview and take questions.
Please,
Keo,
Dr.
Matt, you
Dr.
want to go ahead?
Branscombe.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Keo?
We can hear you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to welcome new Superintendent Collins. And secondly, I want to thank Bob Parrish for having worked with him over the past, actually not 3 years, but almost 20 years. And Bob, you've done a great job, and you've been the kind of leader that we expected you would be. So we appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Superintendent Collins, we're glad that you're here and you're going to love Metro Technology Centers. I just simply mentioned that our Treasury report finds us with what I would consider a very good carryover cash on hand. Our totals are actually a little greater than we anticipated they would be. You have that comparison general fund tracking sheet as the first sheet in your packet. It shows the May totals, the budgeted total, and it shows where we are through May in terms of revenue. The figure that's really important is the one down at the bottom right-hand corner, and that's the estimated fund balance, which is very healthy. I don't know if any board member has a question, or Mr. Parrish, if you have a question, but we'd be happy to take those questions if there are any. If not, that concludes the report. We are liquid, Mr. McKinney. Very liquid, I'm happy to say.
Okay. Any other questions? Or you will see on the agenda tonight also that we, as we do every year under the School District Budget Act, we have to do the end of the year budget, which came at a perfect time being the last day of the month. So you'll see that on the general business item later. And that is the FY20, the current year that we're in, the budget. I would like to you to note the dates of the upcoming events. As usual, we're closed again this Friday, July 3rd. It seems like we've been closed a lot more days than that, but we will celebrate Independence Day that Friday and Saturday this weekend. I want to leave my thoughts with telling the board what an honor and pleasure it's been working for you for the last 21 years. You've seen me grow, most of you through that time, and I appreciate the confidence that you've had in me for the last 3 years as I've attempted at my best effort to lead the district. And as always, I feel like this is the best career tech in Oklahoma. I've told you that many times. We don't get the credit we're always due, but I also throw in with that, with sincerity, all of our faculty and our all of the support staff, instructional, and all the support staff that have supported me over the years. You can't do it without cooperation, and I've laughed at what I would say with you, but I'd say I get along and know 98% of the staff, which that 2% is only 5 or 6 people, and I was laughing because you know who you are out there. But I do really appreciate all of the staff. I've been at Metro Tech for 36% of my life now, and I hope that number continues to go down. So as I go on in life, you hope that percentage down. I've been over 60% of my life spent in education. So I feel like it's a good time for me. I need to spend more time doing some things that I enjoy, and I'm going to miss all of you, especially getting to know you. Each one of the board members is always special because I know each of you in a different way that you don't know each other. So I would like to go from that into your selection as your next superintendent, Mr. Aaron Collins. I think you made a great selection. We've been in contact with each other for the last 2 weeks. I think this has been although the board thinks it's been a slow process, it has been very fast for the person that got selected to be this job, because he's coming to us from another state. He's having to relocate his family. He's having to take on 2 jobs right now as he's finishing up one district and trying to learn what's going on at Metro Technology Centers. And rest assured that I will help him if he needs my help. I don't see that he's going to need a lot of my help because he has the experience that you need, and he has the repertoire with people that I think we're going to need to lead Metro Tech into the next phase. And I say that because everything is in phases, and I feel like I've done my part of the phase, and it's time for me to push Metro Tech to another level a new level, and I feel like Mr. Collins can do that. And Mr. Collins, I would like you to give, go ahead and take the floor and introduce yourself to everyone.
I appreciate that, Mr. Bob, and thank you for the kind words. I want to reiterate what Mr. Parrish has said. The transition and what Mr. Bob has done has been great. He has had an open door, and we have talked numerous hours. I'm afraid he may be a little tired of seeing Aaron Collins on his cell phone pop up on a daily basis on the last 2 weeks. But Mr. Parrish, you have represented Metro Tech very well. I'm looking forward to continuing our friendship together that we're building and relationship. And thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to say a few things. But I don't want to, because this is your moment. Thank you so much for the many years that you've given to this area and to this community and to CTE and to education and to this great state, and thank you so much for your service, and thank you for all that you will continue to do and have done for Metro Tech.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And as I said, you will look forward. You'll have another board meeting in 2 weeks, and I look forward to watching that, watching you lead the district from this point out. At this time, I would like to ask, does any board members have any reports they'd like?
Bob, I just have a comment. I just wanted to say thank you for your service and your time. We appreciate all the time that you've dedicated to Metro Tech. We wish you the best, and it's been great working with you. And also just want to welcome Mr. Collins to the district, and also want to remind everyone to make sure and vote. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Campos. Anybody else?
Congratulations, Bob. You did a great job in over the 21 years, and we were lucky to have you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
And welcome to you, Aaron. We're looking forward to your superintendency, and we want to welcome you as best we can. The only other thing I'd like to say away from that is, it seems like, and I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way or sees it this way, but it looks like to me that we are packing the consent docket with things that we should talk about in other areas. And I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way, but I'd like to have some consideration on that in the future.
Okay, I think that's something that the Superintendent Collins can look at. This year, I was trying to put in the consent docket some things that go on an annual basis, and if we're overdoing it, it's time to back off on that. But in the May and June meetings, we always have a heavy docket, and a lot of it, I meant for it to be like the utility bills and ongoing contracts that we know we're going to approve. You cannot pay the telephone bill, you cannot pay the electric bill, but you might want to consider putting that on there so that we can pull them out and discuss the cost maybe, or something like that. But Mr. Collins, take that into consideration, and I know you will work with the board on that. And if it says on there too, if there's anything you want to pull off of that, we can vote on it separate. So if you ever do see something, always know that's a consideration, is to pull that out and vote separate on that item. Any other?
Are you done? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Were you finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, you're much too young to be retiring. So I think you should maybe go find another job or something and do something you enjoy doing. But on a serious note, I do appreciate your service for all the number of years that you've been at Metro Tech. And I appreciate your honesty, your integrity, and your friendship. And I think you've done a marvelous job. Appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you. I appreciate everything.
And welcome, Mr. Collins. You have a long road ahead, but I bet you will enjoy it. You'll enjoy the trip.
if there's no other comments, President Latham, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, before we get out of board member comments, I just want to also echo what everyone said and just say, Bob, we greatly appreciate you. I've enjoyed working with you and feel like you've done some tremendous things for Metro Tech. And that's something that's made all of our jobs, and I won't speak for everybody, but I can definitely speak for myself, made my job a lot easier. And so I want to thank you for your time here. I want to thank you for everything you've done and your work and your friendship. And Superintendent Collins, you've got big shoes to fill. And I'm confident you'll be able to do a great job, but Bob has done a fantastic job, and I'm really happy to have worked with him. So thank you so much, Superintendent Parrish. And
yeah, thank you.
Look forward to many golf rounds after this where we don't have to keep track of the score that closely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting my golf game back.
Let me know if you need a buddy out there who's pretty terrible, because I'm happy to oblige.
I'm good at that terrible golf. So.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Well, all right. We'll move on to item number 4, the consent docket. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the consent docket.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney, Mr. McKinney,
You're muted.
Muted.
He's muted.
Aye.
Ah, there you go.
thank you. And Mr. Latham,
Aye.
6 aye.
Okay. Item number 4 carries. We're going to move on to item number 5, the general business items. I'm going to make a motion to table letter E. We are working with Superintendent Collins to figure out what that's going to look like moving forward. And so for the time being, I'd like to move to table that and revisit that at our next meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Joanne, will you call the roll on tabling item E?
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
and Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
All right. Tabling item E. So now I'll entertain a motion for item number 5, general business as amended. Do we have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve.
All right. We have a motion and a second from Mr. McKinney. Is there any discussion on item number 5?
I had a question on C. I didn't quite understand how that works, where we receive money and then we're reimbursed from ODCTE. I don't know if reimbursed is the right word as we use it, but I don't quite understand how that works.
Joanne, is that the language we've used in the past?
Yes, sir.
I think it is. Really, Ms. Richards, in the past, we did pull this out, but off the funding sheet, we will have every portion of state funding. We could have possibly held that off of here and put it with the other items. That they say reimbursed because we have to show proof of the hours, that contact hours that we do for business and industry service training, but it's a set amount. We're just not going to receive more than $108,944.15. That will be the maximum amount that we will receive.
So we don't receive that amount all at once.
We receive it in 12 equal payments. It'll start in the July and go through June. But we still have to show the efforts that we're making in that department to prove that we did at least that much.
Yeah. Well, I think it maybe could be worded better because we're not reimbursing them if they're paying money to us.
It says we'll be reimbursed to Metro Tech by ODCTE, but
It's like we.
It's
like we're
really,
paying them.
yeah.
We just bill into the Carters, do we not?
What'd
Once
you
a
say?
month, we send them a bill once a month.
No, we send in quarterly, well, monthly.
Requisitions, right?
It's really activity. How many hours that our ACD and EWD departments are doing in activity with clients.
So we account for the use of it
Yes,
monthly.
right, correct. But we're not going to receive, we need to account for at least how they figure that number by the hour, but it can't exceed that amount. It's not going to exceed $108,000 from them.
Okay, so
They
we
have a
might
formula.
not receive 108.
That's correct. The last payment, they may not give us all of the money if we don't show that we're doing that.
So it's in the maximum amount of that.
Yeah, it could say the maximum amount of 108, but.
Okay.
All right. And then I'm going to make another motion just to get us compliant with policy here. I'm going to actually move to amend item F to make Matt Genhart the interim treasurer, because we do have in board member policy that we have to have a treasurer appointed. He's already the assistant treasurer and already bonded, so it should be an easy transition for him to serve in that role until we can figure out the direction we want to go with that. So I'm going to move to amend item F to make Matt Genhart the interim treasurer.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have any discussion?
I have a question. So has Dr. Branscombe resigned, or are we hiring an additional or appointing an additional individual?
So we are moving to having Dr. Branscombe potentially play a different role at Metro Tech while we look at the interim or at the treasurer's position. And that's just kind of a transitional component. Wanted to make sure that our new superintendent had the opportunity to set that up the way that he felt was best. And so since we're in that transition, it's something that both Bob and Aaron have brought to us and said, hey, this is something we may want to look at. And so that's the reason that we've got it on hold. And I would imagine that we're going to be able to have something for you on the agenda here in 2 weeks. That's the goal. So it's a very short transitional period, but just for the sake of making sure that we have it all set up the way we want it and the way the superintendent.
Okay, next question. Will it be employment or appointment? Will it be by employment or appointment?
This will be an appointment by the Board of Education. The treasurer works for the Board of Education and not Metro Technology Center.
Right, right.
So employing a district treasurer is an employment of someone else.
It's an option. We can have a district treasurer who is an internal employee, or we can employ someone outside of the district to be able to be the treasurer. In this scenario, we're appointing a current employee to take that role on in the interim. And I would imagine that we'll be having a discussion as to whether or not we want to employ a district treasurer moving forward here in 2 weeks. So this is merely just giving the title to Mr. Genhart for the interim position, and as we figure out the details of the rest of that, and allow Superintendent Collins to have 1 day on the job, because he's short 1 day from being even on the job technically. So that's really what it comes down to.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yes, ma'am. I realize it's probably as clear as mud, but hopefully that helped a little bit. So, any other discussion on the amendment to item F? Seeing no discussion, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
and Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Amendment carries. We're back on item number 5 as amended. Do we have any other discussion on item number 5 as amended? Seeing no discussion, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Item number 5 carries. Item number 6, personnel items.
Move to approve personnel items.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion in 2 seconds, so we're really overachieving right now. Is there any discussion? Give everybody a second here. Any discussion? All right, seeing no discussion, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
and Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Item number 6 carries. Item number 7, encumbrances and purchasing.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve in a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, sir. On item 210059, it's for parking at the Devon Tower for Jesse Hansen, I believe it is, or Hannon.
Jesse.
It amounts to $1,620. And then under 2100172, there are 5 parking spaces being bought for $13,200. And if you divide 5 into 13,220 or $200, you get $2,640 per space. First of all, I wonder why we need those spaces. I thought we got a lot of spaces when we negotiated the contract with the landlord.
Mhm.
And I suppose we have exceeded the number we need. So I'd like to know if that's a fact. And then I'd also like to know, why don't we put the other 5 spaces in the Devon parking for about $1,000 less a spot?
I don't have the answer to that. Is Cindy or Carla or Stephanie?
This is Cindy. Sorry. The parking for Mr. Hanna was related to the garage height, and his vehicle would not fit in the garage of the other facility. Now, as far as the difference in price, I had not seen that contract, so it should have been the same, because the Mr. Mark Beffert was handling the parking for us, and I thought it was at both locations. As far as the number of spaces, the lease that we have with the parking and the rental of the facility included a certain number of free spaces and a certain number of guaranteed paid spaces. So those are the things I know, Mr. Perry.
Okay. Can we get, that doesn't really answer the question.
I'm sorry.
Are there 2 different parking garages?
It appears to be the case. One is at Devon and one is American Parking or something rather like that. I'm not looking at it right now, but I do have the number, Bob, if you need to know.
Well, the reason the difference in pricing is the Devon, his vehicle will not fit in the American parking garage, and
right,
they had to get a separate contract to park his vehicle because of the height of it. But I don't know about the contract, what it says about how many free spaces and how many paid spaces that we're supposed to get.
I believe we had 15 free and 10 paid.
So Cindy, what are these extra 5?
Oh, I don't believe, I need to check on that, Mr. Perry, because I did not understand us to have extra. I thought that all we had was the 25 total. But Mr. Hannah's spot was one extra.
Right. Well, it appears that we're asking for Mr. Hannon's spot through June of 21 for $1,620.
Okay.
And then under encumbrance 00172, we're asking for 5 spots for a total of $13,200 or $2,640 per spot. So there's a difference there that somebody needs to understand. And first of all, do we need them? And second of all, why is there a difference in the amounts?
And Cindy, one thing I'll tag on there. Who is Mr. Hannah? And remind me, sorry, I don't remember everybody's names very well.
Yes, Jesse Hannah drives a large truck, and he carries a lot of safety equipment to the job sites where he's doing training for the city and training for industrial clients. So he is transporting in his own personal vehicle the safety equipment that he needs. And his truck was not a unusual height. It's not like on a jacked up or anything. It just didn't fit in the garage where we had our contract.
President Latham, would you like to table that one encumbrance on there and bring
what I was
it
about
back?
to say is, unless there's some sort of a time-sensitive nature to this, what I would suggest is, why don't we table that particular item and proceed with the rest of them? And then, Cindy, if you could have the information distributed to the board members between now and our meeting in 2 weeks, then that way we can consider it and we can have that item for discussion in 2 weeks. Mr. Perry, is that a sufficient solution?
Perfect. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, Mr. Collins, that's fine to do that. Also, we'll just make that retroactive back when we bring it back in July. And
Okay.
it won't be an audit exception on that.
Then in that case, Mr. Perry, since you have the numbers in front of you and I'm dyslexic enough that I'll confuse those and table something else, can you
Okay.
make that motion and I'll second your motion?
Okay. I'd like to amend on behalf of 2100059 encumbrance and 2100172 encumbrance. For the first one is for 1620 and the second one is for 13,200. I'd like to exclude those as from this particular program.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to exclude those items or to table those items and a second. Any discussion on the motion to table those items? I'll just say good catch, Mr. Perry, and glad you've got a calculator handy. So, all right, no discussion. Then we'll go ahead and Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney, Mr. Perry,
Aye.
and Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Item carries. We're moving to item number 7, encumbrance purchasing as amended. Do we have any other discussion on item 7 as amended? Seeing no discussion, Joanne, will you call the roll?
Ms. McKinney,
Aye.
Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
Item number 7. Please. Item number 8.
Adjourn.
We have
Second.
a motion and we have a second. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Campos,
Aye.
Ms. Richards,
Aye.
Mr. Perry,
Aye.
Mr. McKinney,
Aye.
Miss McKinney,
Aye.
Mr. Latham.
Aye.
All aye.
We are adjourned, and if you have not voted, you have 19 minutes to get to the polls. So jump in your car and hit the gas. Hope everybody's voted today.
I voted 2 weeks ago.
There we go. Early bird over here. So
Vote early, vote often.
have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.